everyone. Welcome to Team Guide IS. I hope you all are well. Today we have a very important session with Shweta ma'am and she will be joining with us soon. Hello ma'am, good evening. Welcome to Team Guide IS
Hello,
ma'am.
hi.
Hi ma'am,
Thank
welcome
you.
to Team IS.
It's
I hope
wonderful
you're
to
doing
be here.
great. So bef- Before
I'm
beginning ma'am,
sorry, I'm not in the best of network areas.
no problem ma'am. Ma'am, before beginning, I would like to give our viewers a brief introduction about your journey so far. Shall I?
Please go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Born in Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh, she completed her graduation from IIT Kharagpur. She did a job for a few months and then she quitted it. And in 2015, she started her preparation for civil services. Then she cleared civil services and now she's posted as an IFS officer at Nasik. It takes a lot of courage, bravery, patience, and initiative to be the part of the Indian Forest Service. But those who want to make a difference are proud of what they put into it. And ma'am is a true example of that. Many congratulations, ma'am, for your success.
Thank you.
Shall we begin with the questions, ma'am?
Yes. Let's go ahead with it.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, first question is that at what stage you decided to prepare for the civil services? Was it pre-planned or you decided it after the graduation?
Okay. Firstly, good evening, everyone. Sorry for the delay. There was some technical glitch. We have been ready for past 15 minutes. And very good evening. Hope you're all safe. Regarding the first question, when I started my civil service preparation, it was when I was about 22, 23. And it was way after my graduation. People usually start in 10th, 12th also, but I didn't have a very strong idea. I always had a vague idea that someday I'll be civil servant, but properly started after 22.
Ma'am, next question. It's that preparing for the civil services is a long journey and you need a continuous motivation for that. Who was the person behind your motivation and success?
Motivation behind my success, that's what I heard. So I'll tell. See, the fact that you want to do a job which has meaning, or you want to do a job which gives you work satisfaction, that usually is the biggest motivation. Otherwise, you need people to act like a support system for you. For example, you're up, you sometimes feel high, you sometimes feel low. So you want somebody to say it's okay, you can just keep moving on. For me, that was my mom in a way, because at that time she was not in a very good health. In fact, we thought we'd in fact lose her. So even at that time, she was constantly thinking about me, my success, and I used to feel, okay, if she's so passionate about it, I should definitely not give up. So that was my thought process, and that kept me going on.
That's really great, ma'am. Ma'am, next question is that please tell us that who is eligible for IFS? Is there any kind of particular qualification that is needed for in this for a service?
Okay. Sadly, this is because it is termed as a technical service. Not everybody is eligible like in other civil services. For example, people from arts or people from like doctors, MBBS doctors, they cannot do it. Only people who have science background, science of the subject in their bachelor's degree, they are eligible to do it.
Okay,
That
ma'am.
apart, we also have the prelims, which has higher cutoff than regular civil services, so that itself is another hurdle.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Next question is, ma'am, there's a lot of difference that I've heard in the mains examination of IFS and the other examinations like the IAS. What's that difference?
Yeah. See, all civil services, they have prelims mains interview, and IFS also has a prelims mains interview. Prelims is common, you have to give the same exam, just that you will have to tick that one box while applying for the for civil services exam. You'll have an option, civil services only, forest service only, or both civils and forest service. So you have to tick an option which has forest service. Apart from that, mains interview both conducted by same UPSC, interview the same board which takes civil services will take your IFS interview also. Just that in mains you have two optional subjects. Because it is considered technical subject, they did not down on the optional like they did in civil services. And naturally, all optionals are science based again. You will not have political science or sociology in IFS mains. You have to choose a science subject.
Thank you, ma'am. I hope this will help our aspirants who are watching us. So, ma'am, next question is that what were your optional subjects and what was your strategy for that?
Optional subjects mine were forestry and agricultural engineering. I am not the best person to talk about it because I had 1 month after civil service mains and before the forest service mains. So in 1 month, I picked forestry. I took one book, Manikandan. I read it. I did question papers. Even agricultural engineering, the trick that I followed was go back to last 10, 15 year question papers. Keep them, print them aside, keep them in front of you. And whenever you're reading anything in the topic, you should always know how a question can be formed on it. So continuously, repeatedly looking at questions, trying to answer questions will give you the perspective on how to tackle the syllabus. Otherwise, the syllabus is very, very vast, and because it's engineering subject also, you cannot do it in short time. So that's where I would say the center of the preparation is take question papers, just stick to question papers until about 1 or 2 months before the exam. If you're preparing long way until.
Thank you, ma'am. This is really helpful. So, ma'am, next question is that did you have any type of particular coaching for IFS?
Type of coaching? No, I've not taken coaching because, like I said, I had very less time. But these days, there are special coaching centers for IFS only. Like I think Shankar in Tamil Nadu gives, and Evolution in Delhi also. I think is giving it. Other than that, when I was there, no, not many coaching centers were there. And you can definitely follow many online sources. Even Instagram is has become one of major preparation hubs now. So that way, no dearth of coaching if you want to take even from your home.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, next question is that could you please share with us your daily routine during the preparation of the civil services? How do you manage your time at that?
Preparation strategy? No, I didn't get that. Please again.
Ma'am, could you please share the daily routine during your preparation time? How do you manage your time?
Day routine.
Yes, ma'am.
You get up, you brush your teeth, you sit with books. You have breakfast, you sit with books. You have lunch, you sit with books. So this is like 1 month before the exam. Otherwise, if you have long time, then to each his own strategy. You take breaks also, you meet people also. But otherwise, the exam is always there on your mind. Even if you're enjoying because you want to take a break for exam. Or even if you're meeting friends, it's like a break for your exam. It's always exam oriented. So that kind of intense preparation is required, not just for IFS, any civil service.
So most of the time is spent with books only. Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, next question is that everyone faces a certain kind of hardships during the preparation. So, was there any kind of hardship that you faced, and how did you overcome that?
Hardships. Oh, I had tons of hardships. You would not believe. I literally came from the bottom of the rock bottom that people say. Because, like I said, my mom was ill. She was diagnosed with cancer. My dad just had a surgery. My brother was in class 10 then, and I had to come back to my home where coaching or in general UPSC civil services is not a big deal there. And it felt like I was completely needed at home. I could not give time for preparation at all. Added to it the stress of dealing with patient or it's like mom being so bad in health. That all had a lot of effect on me, and I think somehow by God's grace I got out of it. But otherwise, I think most people who get through, they go through these sufferings. It's not an easy journey for many people.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. That's really inspiring, ma'am. So, ma'am, next question is that what kind of service is IFS? What exactly it involves? Tell us something about that.
Okay, yeah, this is probably the crucial question. IFS is one of the three all India services that everybody knows, but I would call IFS as hybrid between IAS and IPS. Why do I say? Because in IPS, like in IPS, we have like crime detection, we issue search warrants, we go arrest people, we go to courts and then argue against them, or we even do patrolling, everyday patrolling. Our entire subordinate staff is in khaki uniform, and they have the same discipline routine that the police has, and even the rank, everything. So that way, it's on one side, it's completely police kind of work, and on the other side it's again developmental or administrative kind of work, because we get funds and then we decide how to utilize the funds for developmental activities. So that is in a way very hybrid in that sense.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, next question is that please tell us something about the training period. What's the difference between the training of an IFS and the other All India services? So, and how was the overall
Yes.
experience?
Whenever you say training, I smile ear to ear because it's the best part of the service of the 3 years that I had. If you see one of my Instagram posts, there's a post which tells of all the places that we've gone during our training period. We went like tons of tours. We went to Ladakh in Kashmir. We went to Arunachal Pradesh in the east. We went to Andamans, and then we went into this desert, Thar Desert. We did camel safari there. We did scuba dived in Andaman, skydived in Spain, and it's like the complete country. I don't think any normal person would travel as much as we did by road in India. And believe me, India is so vast. Even I didn't know until I went and I saw that. So that is one part. Apart from those, we have attachments. Attachments like in Indian Military Academy, there we do horse training or swimming, or rifle shooting. So that is one. And we go to IM Lucknow to learn about management because half of our job is management. And we even go to NPA, National Police Academy, to understand the crime detection investigation part of it. And we go on many treks to just have the feel of it, the field feel of it, and they also learn the technical parts of forestry or silviculture. So that, and apart from that, the best part is you get awesome group camaraderie. The people, the batchmates that you meet with. So the camaraderie is awesome. You totally enjoy training.
That's really interesting, ma'am. So, ma'am, as you said that you have it was really the training period was really interesting. So you might have learned a lot of things during the training period. Could you please share a part of those with us?
Field training is fun because you actually meet people who work on field. So they know what happens or how to get things done. That's the main part. But other than that, the biggest things that I got from my training was two. One is confidence. I got really confident after my training. Before that, I was the shy, innocent, very introvert kind of girl. And second, I had purpose. I had purpose in this job that I always have something to look forward to. It gives some meaning to your life. So these are the two things that I would always carry with me.
That's really great, ma'am. Thank you. So, ma'am, after being into this service, what is the thing that you enjoy the most about this service? And is there anything that you don't like in this service?
Okay, enjoy most and not like. The fact that I can go to field anytime, I can trek, I can hike, and I can still call it a work day and draw salary. So that is very enjoyable. I don't think any other profession will give you that freedom. And second is when you take up some developmental activities, we usually work with tribal people or very poor remote areas. Work as in we take decisions that will help them. So when you see your project actually come to fruit, and then you see people being, as you said, taking benefit out of it. So that is a direct effect of the work, and that's immeasurable. You cannot match it with anything else. So these are the two things I like. The fact that it's a field job is what I like. What I don't like is the kind of attitude or the kind of unrecognition that people have towards this, in the sense that, see, nobody on the road says, let this person take care of law, not violate law or follow the law, and I can do whatever I want. Everybody follows law. But when it comes to environment, people say everybody else will take care of environment, but I can throw plastic wherever I want. So this difference, this attitude difference towards the sector, this department, is probably what I don't like here.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, next question is that how do you manage your personal life and professional life, and what are difficulties that you face?
Until now, personal life, professional life balance has been easy because my husband and I, we're both posted in the same place. But that usually is not the case. As we go up, we have to work into different districts because there's only one person in the district. So there it is actually a challenge, and it's a challenge across services, across all India services especially.
All
So we
right,
have to
ma'am.
figure out.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, next question that usually comes to our mind is that there is a mentality that a girl don't need to do such services, especially in the Indian parents, they have such mentality. So, in what manner do you take this, and what's your take on this? And if there was any kind of pressure that you faced during your preparation, so please share with us.
Yes. No, when it came to preparation, my family was completely supportive of what I wanted to do. But I would strongly say girls should come here. There's a lot of fun being here. You get a lot of power. You get empowered. You get the confidence after coming here. And people have this image that, oh, girls, they have to go into forest and work there. That is both silly and false. It does not happen that way. Because uh, all you do is take decisions for people there. You stay in the headquarters. You have an entire team of people to support you to do what you think. And especially for women, I believe women people say they're sensitive, and we need that sensitivity to work for poor, to work towards tribals, especially wildlife. If you're really sensitive as a woman, then please come here, come save Mother Nature. So it's good for nature too, and it's good for the person, for the girl that's coming into the service. I strongly urge girl candidates to apply.
So, ma'am, what message would you like to give all the girls who are watching this session?
Come, apply, come. It's fun. It's totally worth it. Just
Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, next question is that people are usually attracted by the glamour and the perks of the service. So, could you please share with us something about this?
okay, glamour and perks. I probably should not term it that way, but you get the usual perks. You have your gadi, you have a person in uniform driving it. You'll get your salutes every day. You probably after a while, you don't even notice them. You get your big bungalows, or you have entire field at your disposal. You manage tens of crores of rupees for your division every year. You get to take decisions. I think that's the biggest perk. Being able to take decision is very important. And apart from that, you have the network, the fraternity. You can talk with any other person from any other service. You can work with them as a team. So yes, the general perks are always there.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, how do you feel after being into the service, and what difference do you feel in your life before this and after this? Please share.
The same two things. I feel more confident. I feel I have a purpose. Simple, both.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, anything else that you would like to tell us about this service? Because I think there are no more
About the
questions from.
service, I strongly think people don't know enough about it because I myself did not know before coming here. I got to know a lot of it after I cleared my mains when I was preparing for interview. But thankfully, there are more offices on social media from our service. There is more visibility regarding the service, more empathy towards the environment, thanks to COVID and everything. So it's better than what you imagine. Just apply, come here, be part of us. Thank you. It was lovely talking to you.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, any other message that you would like to give to our aspirants?
Aspirants, yes. Okay, one to regular citizens to think that people who work for forests are not working for wildlife or anything. They're working for everybody. It's the biggest service that they're doing. So have respect towards them. And for aspirants, it's the perseverance really. Everybody who is made through it, some time or other in their life they have struggled. So usually come out after struggle, and the sweetness of success is better after struggle. So just keep at it.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, in the end, I would like to tell you about our organization, that is Guide IS. Guide IS has been running a YouTube channel, and we have been putting a lot of NCRT courses free of cost on a YouTube channel. Also, we'll be bringing some more courses on the YouTube. And also, we are running one Telegram group where we provide the material related to the UPSC. Also, we compile the current affairs from various sources, and then we provide it at 1 rupee per day. So our organization believes in serving the people.
Best wishes to you. Good night.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time, ma'am.
Thank you all.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes.
Goodbye.